Revelation 6. Jesus, the lion and lamb hybrid, is on the verge of opening a secret scroll. What will it say? And which of his many eyeballs will he use to read it? I know you'd love to hear the answer, but this is the Bible, and the writers get paid by the word, which means we have to open each of the 7 seals individually. This actually marks the beginning of a series of chapters referred to as the Tribulation, when all of mankind will suffer for rejecting Christ. There are many pre-tribulationists who think true Christians will be raptured before all this happens, and post-tribulationists who think that Christians will suffer alongside everyone else, but they'll eventually be rewarded for it. I, of course, would be known as a non-tribulationist, which is also known as correct. But who knows? Maybe some of you like tribbing. Don't Google that. I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the 7 seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like thunder, "Come!" I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. Who knew tribbing could lead to coming? Don't Google that. Anyway, look! It's the first horseman of the apocalypse. A white horse, a conqueror. I know what you're thinking. Doesn't the first horseman represent pestilence? Shut up and stop correcting me. Actually, when the Black Death hit Europe in the 1300s, a bunch of people assumed that was the first horseman, which meant Jesus was coming back soon. They were wrong, and then they died. You know what's interesting? When it comes to the tribulation, a lot of Christians are worried that plagues will be unleashed upon the world. And yet, when COVID hit, it was conservative Christians who fought to hold in-person church gatherings and not wear face masks and refuse vaccinations. I'm just saying, some people like plagues, and they think the people trying to save mankind are the enemies. Also, where are all these horses coming from? Jesus opened a seal, not a box. Am I supposed to be scared of the first horseman? The rider is holding a bow, but the Bible does not say he had arrows, unless he used all those arrows to kill people, which is why he has a crown? So, a little scary, but not really scary. By the way, this is happening after the first seal is opened. It does not end well. So the proper thing to do would be to stop breaking the seals. But no, I guess everything is just fine, so we're gonna keep going. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. Thanks God for giving us another horseman whose only job is to create assassins. And thanks for giving him a sword instead of a ticket to a therapy session. But okay, second horseman of the apocalypse. This one represents war. He has the power to take peace from the earth, which should come as news to everyone who's died in the Bible up to this point, which is a lot of people. Again, we could just say, I don't need to see the scroll. I'm good. But Jesus will keep going because why not? If I were murdered, I would want vengeance on the world too. When the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Third horseman, black horse, famine. Famine caused by world war. And inflation, maybe, because a day's wages should buy you way more than 2 pounds of wheat and 6 pounds of barley. At least that's what the internet told me. Obviously, if you are working all day for just enough food to feed yourself, you can't save money and you can't help people around you. This, the Bible says, is very bad. And yet this is basically what rich CEOs think the peasants should be happy with, which is another way of saying everyone in biblical times should have unionized. How awful are these wealthy landowners? They're screwing over the workers, but making sure no one damages the oil and wine, because those luxuries are way more important than human suffering. When the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Fourth horseman, pale horse, Death. And it's kind of unfair to have a pale horse after we've already had a white horse, since if you've ever met white people, it's kind of the same thing. I am allowed to say that because my children are half translucent. And just for fun, we're gonna give this dude a quarter of the globe to murder using all the tools at his disposal. That's about 2 billion people now, which is a lot of genocide, because you know they are not gonna spread out the killings evenly. They'll just go after certain parts of the world. And if world history has taught me anything, it's probably the browner parts. Thanks, Jesus. Curiosity killed the cat, but you had to unseal the scroll and kill off the world. We should be done here, but there are 3 seals left, and things have to keep escalating. What more is there to destroy? Are there 3 more horsemen we were never told about? When he opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer, until the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers and sisters, were killed just as they had been. Aww. All the people who were actually persecuted for their faith have come back to life as Christian zombies. And they all sing in unison, and they all want blood in their white cult robes. And because that's not enough, those martyrs are told to just chill out a bit until all the other Christians are murdered. It'll take a while because we have some errands to run first, but eventually revenge will be theirs. How shitty would you feel if you died for Jesus under the assumption that you would be rewarded later on, and then God tells you, "Just wait a while, you guys," and you're like, "It's been hundreds of years, we're bored," and then God says, "Not yet, I'm busy," and you're like, "With what? Not avenging our deaths?" And God says, "Just for that, I'm gonna let a bunch of other Christians die and join you, and then I'll make you all wait longer." No wonder Christians want to be persecuted. They feel like they're not doing their jobs unless people are coming after them for their faith. I watched as he opened the 6th seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red, and the stars in the sky fell to earth as figs drop from a fig tree when shaken by a strong wind. The heavens receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. Here's how we know the Bible is made up. The sun has not turned black. The stars have not fallen, because that's not how gravity or the galaxy works. And the sun is a star, so did it change color or fall? Who knows? The sky cannot just recede. What would that even look like? And the mountains and islands cannot poof away, because this is not some bad sci-fi movie. If the sun were destroyed, what do the Bible writers think would happen to our planet? They didn't know the answer when this was written, but we have an idea now, and it's not great. The first 4 seals all described man-made chaos. Now we're in the divine intervention stage of God-induced destruction. Remember, All of this destruction is happening because Jesus wants to read a scroll. Forget genocide. We are destroying the entire planet, which, to be fair, does seem to describe what many Christians are doing today by ignoring climate change. I should point out that the Christians who believe this stuff believe all of this will happen in the future, after they're saved. So they won't have to suffer. But they have no problem believing that everyone not in their club totally deserves to die like this. Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it?" You know what? I might have believed this was true, but then it said the rich people and royalty hid in caves alongside the poor and the slaves. And there is no way that would happen. Even in the apocalypse, the wealthy will always find a secret cabin to go to. They are not hanging around with the peasants. They're definitely not praying for a rock slide in order to hide from a vengeful Jesus. And it sounds like the heathens finally believe Jesus is real, because now they see definitive proof. So give them credit. Stop murdering them. They just wanted evidence, and now they have it. The fact that they are still being killed tells you this God is petty and vindictive. And how come none of the kings or princes or generals or wealthy or mighty people are Christian to begin with? I mean, if the most powerful and successful people were heathens, at some point, wouldn't you think you joined forces with the wrong side? Because they have all had a pretty good life, at least up to this moment. Also, the only people getting punished are the ones currently living. So if you're a non-Christian king who had a heart attack a year ago at the age of 90, you've got to be feeling pretty damn happy about how all this turned out. Remember, all of this is supposed to be a celebration. Johnny the narrator isn't telling non-Christians how they'll suffer, he's telling the churches how their members will avoid the suffering. So this is a happy story. And we still have another seal left on the scroll. But the world is destroyed, and the horsemen have been unleashed, and everyone's gonna be killed except the true believers. So what else is left to do? And what does that piece of paper say? I guess we just need to open Pandora's box again to find out.